Well, North Korea's foreign minister's taken to the podium at the United Nations General Assembly, addressing Pyongyang's plans for denuclearization. He says his country is committed to it, but it still needs to build trust with the US. Well, our international diplomatic editor, Nick Robertson, is following these developments and joins us now. Nick, just explain for us how North Korea's representative is explaining the deadlock we're seeing, the reason there hasn't been more progress towards denuclearization.
Yeah, Ri Yong-ho was quite actually positive about what's happening on the Korean Peninsula in terms of relationship between North and South Korea. He said, look, over the past year and across the world, we've seen international tensions rising. But he said, actually, on the Korean Peninsula, it's the only place in the world where those tensions have been de-escalating and moving in a positive direction. But as far as the United States is concerned, and the current state of relations on denuclearization with North Korea and President Trump's engagement with Kim Jong-un, he said from the Korean side, they sense that they're giving and not getting in return. This is what he said.
Even before the DPRK-US summit, the DPRK government took significant goodwill measures such as stopping nuclear and ICBM tests, dismantling the nuclear test site in a transparent manner, and affirming not to transfer nuclear weapons and nuclear technology under any circumstances. And it continues to put in efforts to trust building. However, we do not see any corresponding response from the US.
But rather than blame President Trump and the White House for not seeing corresponding response from the United States, he blamed the political opposition, he said, who are critical of North Korea, who are undermining trust in North Korea here in the United States. And he said, you know, when the talks have failed between the countries in the past, it's been because, they haven't built trust. And he pointed to the model of North and South Korea, where they are having a much sort of more slow-rolling relationship and confidence-building measures. And he said it was important to build confidence between the United States and North Korea and not do what the United States is doing at the moment through a lack of trust, trying, he said, essentially to, force North Korea down the denuclearization path without having that trust that he said that's necessary. He also had a comment for the international community there, and particularly, pointedly at the United Nations as well. He said, look, for the past year, North Korea, which is not quite technically true, but he said North Korea for the past year hasn't had any missile tests, hasn't had any nuclear tests, and he said, yet the sanctions on us remain the same. He didn't say end the sanctions, he just put it a different way and said, look, the international community needs to support North Korea in North Korea's economic development inside the country, which is code for we're being good, lift the sanctions.
Yes. Thank you for breaking that down for us, Nick Robertson, for us in New York. Good to have you with us as always. Thank you. Well, still to come on CNN Newsroom, the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh are the latest in a cultural moment that shows no signs of slowing down.